Hello everybody, FlyGuy937 here, and today I'm going to be playing some Team Fortress 2. I'm going to be playing as the Pyro on Powerhouse, and this is going to be a special kind of video. This is a map review video where I take some maps and talk about them, how I like them, just sort of my general impressions. Oh god, dang it. And so today I'm going to be reviewing Powerhouse. That guy's got my hat. He's a cool kid. Maybe even a cool adult. I don't know how old he is. And I'm not going to make assumptions. So the first thing, when I first came onto this map, the very first thing I said was that it reminds me of TC Hydro. Now, if any of you have played TC Hydro before, you'll know what I mean. The water, like Powerhouse, is a power plant for water, like a hydro electricity plant, sort of. I'm not too sure on like how it works, because I don't know how that works. I'm not smart enough to understand that. I probably could understand it. I don't know. But they both have the water thing, and my first thoughts actually was that this is right next to Hydro. Like in Hydro there's a giant dam, and it would just be obscured by this building. But I looked, there's no dam, not in the skybox or anything. But still, my first thoughts was that they are connected. And they might very well be. Yeah. Oh, I did not see that sentry there. So and the entire style of the map is very similar. Like the building style, the background style, like the environment around the map is very similar with these red rocks. Oh, that guy's dead. And the whole building, if you haven't seen TC Hydro ever before, I'd recommend going and checking it out, taking a look at it, opening up a local server by pushing create a server and opening up TC Hydro, or in your console typing in map space TC Hydro, TC_Hydro. Got him. I had to prevent him from getting that health back. So you take a look at that, walk around, and you'll see what I mean. Another thing that's really similar about them is the fact that they both have unique gameplay styles. I mean, like unique map. Like they use very unique concepts for their maps. CP Powerhouse is a 3 CP map. Very unusual. The only other one is like attack defend maps, like Gravel Pit or Junction. Or the only other CP map that has 3 control points is Stand-in, I think. I think that's what it's called. I don't know. I haven't played this. I haven't played that map in a long time. And that's a domination map. So it's very got ya. Very unique thing. And I personally enjoy this map. I think it's enjoyable. I wouldn't say it's one of the best maps. There's nothing too unique, in my opinion. Like, it's unique. It definitely is, because it's got the triple control point and that whole style, and that's not been seen before in a CP map. But there's no. I really enjoy maps that have very different gameplay things, and most maps don't, and it's okay if they don't. They're perfectly fine maps. But I feel as if the best maps have special things, and this map is good with that, I think. Not super good, not super great, but good enough. So I'm just gonna say a few of the upsides to this map. I think it's got, I really like the amounts of paths you can take. You can, for the second control point, you can go in through here. You can go up above. And yeah. And then there's two paths up above through the window and down the staircase. And those are both, like, they're all very different options. I enjoy the flank routes on this map as well. For the last control point, you can, like, flank around it like 3 different ways. Here, there's this little flank route. Very important to hold when you're playing this map, in my opinion. It prevents the enemy team from getting behind you, from start killing you when you least expect it. So I think that's really important for this map. Another thing I really like about this map there we go. One thing I like about this map, another thing I like about it is the like upper lower ground. They do that very well. Not around the control points, but they do it around the pathways to the control points. Like there's up there. At the last control point, there's sort of an upper. Here there is, but it's more just like a hill. Like this area right here. Well, I guess yeah, they do height really well. Height variations really well in this map. And now I'm going to go into a few things I don't like about this map. First off, they've got a very interesting like time limit system. They've got you get 45 minutes. It's not, there's no round timer. It's like CTF. I don't know where that M came from. CTF maps. Like, as in, there's no individual round timer. You've got to play until either you win or the time for the map itself runs out. And that I don't like. I think there should be a map timer. Like 10 minutes per control point. Capping a point gives like 5 minutes. Kind of like your standard CP map. So I think that's a big problem, and in normal CP maps, when the map timer runs out, the game ends, the round and game ends, and whichever team has more points on the scoreboard, not player points, like win points, wins. And I think that works very well. In this, if the timer runs out, it just keeps going. There's an overtime, and it just goes until one team caps the last point. And that leads, if there's a balanced round, if they're like both teams are balanced and they've got good defenses and such. Why are we set up at last? What? Oh, are we? No. He's just okay. If both teams have good defenses, then it'll last for a long time. I've played many rounds where the overtime lasts for like up to half an hour, and that's rare because eventually one team will probably win. But the amount of time it'll take for that to happen, if it's perfectly matched, or not perfectly, but somewhat perfectly matched, will be an incredibly long amount of time, and that's not something I think is... No, come here. Oh, you got him. Is he okay? Yes. So that's my biggest problem. Gameplay itself is fairly good. I don't think there's too much of a problem with gameplay. However, I think the biggest problem is I keep getting sidetracked by the game. The biggest problem, in my opinion, is the flank routes. And while that makes the map a lot more diverse, not diverse, but I don't know what I'm saying. It makes the map a lot more, like, flank routes make it a lot more enjoyable because you're able to, like, get past, like, sneak around. It's very good. But if the point, these places cause a lot of, my biggest problem with them is just the fact that engineers on this map are really, it's a very good map to just like build sentries on the enemy's point. I've seen it happen a lot of times. Or build forward sentries. Should die. Like, you could very easily set up a sentry right here. And I don't think it's... Well, one of the biggest problems with these stalemates is that sentry spots are incredibly, like, well, easily defended. And, at least in my opinion. And that causes the rounds to go on forever, because both teams have a sentry defending last, and it's impossible to get through because it's a very small, thin map area. And a lot of choke points, even though there are a lot of... Every point is really, like, I don't know. I can't explain this very well. I'm not that good at explaining this. But each of these control point routes are very easy to hold and not very easy to push forward. Like, this one I'd say is the most open because you can get up on top of the truck. But still, a very thin area, very easy to defend. And it's something that contributes a lot to the stalemates that I've been talking about. Like, it's very easy to place a sentry right here, and it's just defended infinitely. Because that's guarding 2 of the main entrances. This one is probably would be easiest, but it's there's another spot you can put is is somewhere where it reaches both of them. It's very easy to set it up there, and it's very hard to take it out. Also, on the last points, or on the okay, this sentry right here is going to be very effectively guarding pretty much everything. Like, you could sneak out through here, go out through here, and then jump down here to get to the point. But if you try to go out through here, you're gonna get shot at. If you try to jump down, you're gonna get shot at. If you go the normal way to the path right here, you're gonna get shot at by a sentry. It's in a small enough place to not be easily destroyed by the enemy. Like, as with most sentries, like, a demo man would be able to take it out with some stickies, or maybe with some pipes, but it doesn't, like, most other classes can't get it, because to get a direct sightline of it, to use your weapons to destroy it, you'd need to get past it, which is really difficult. Like, that one was, I don't actually know if that one was destroyed. I think it might have been. Ah, dang it. Like, it would have. Okay, but my main point, I'm just gonna stop there with that, and this video has been going on for a while now. I'm just gonna stop here and say that I think the map is a good map as a map, but it needs to get its timer fixed, and it needs to get a more standard way that doesn't end with hour-long stalemates. Like, the sentry problem isn't too bad, especially if you like, it's not bad as a defensive thing. It's just it draws out these overtimes way too much. So that's my final verdict. So yeah, and I'd rate this map a 8 out of, no, I'd rate this map a 7 out of 10. So yeah, this has been FlyGuy0937, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.